thing works, like, but I was still a little bit like, maybe it's just a coincidence. What is going on? It's your girl C-Positivista. Welcome back to another video. So in this video, I'm going to talk to you guys about my experience with vision boards and what that journey has looked like throughout the years. So let's go. So when it comes to vision boards, I didn't really believe in it at first. Like, for me, it was just like, oh, that's a whole load of nonsense. Like, just leave it out. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just thought, you know what, it doesn't work. Like, it's just me putting a bunch of pictures in, you know, on a board and things like that. Like, I just did not believe the concept of vision boards at first, until one day. So I had created a vision board and I drew like a picture of a boat. Literally, I drew a picture of a boat. It wasn't any specific boat. Like, my drawing is not that great, but I just drew like a picture of a boat. And I wrote on there that I wanted to go to Miami. Like, I wrote a list. I was like, I want to go to Miami, I want to go to Jamaica. Like, I just wrote like a list of things and I left it there. That same day, my friend called me and she's like, hey girl, what's going on? I'm like, girl, nothing, I'm just here chilling. She said, girl, do you want to go to Dream Weekend on a cruise? I said, what? She said, do you want to go to Dream Weekend on a cruise? She was like, we'll need to go to Miami and from there we'll catch the cruise and we'll get on the boat and, you know, we'll go to Jamaica, the Bahamas. I said, what now? I said, are you serious? She was like, yeah. I was like, girl, like, are you serious? She was like, no, I'm serious. Why? What's going on? I was like, listen, I just drew a boat. I just drew a picture of a boat. I wrote down I wanted to go to Jamaica. I wrote down I wanted to go to America and all of these things. And you're telling me that we need to go to Miami and we're gonna jump on a boat and we're going to Jamaica and we're going to the Bahamas and we're going to all of these islands. Like, basically, what I drew and what I wrote, my friend called me and said that they're now selling tickets. Like, are you trying to go or not? I said, yeah. Like, I jumped at the opportunity. I was like, damn, like, I didn't, the fact that it happened so quickly, it put me in a place mentally where I was like, yo, this thing works. But like, for me, it's like, there was the picture of the boat and there was the things that I wrote. And those things were very specific. Like, those places that I wanted to go to, very specific. So it was just like, I was just like, oh, I'm not too sure. Oh, this really happened. Like, this really works. Like, so that's where I was mentally when I first started looking into vision boards. So after that, I decided to test it. I was like, oh, let me see if this works. So I started writing down like a bunch of things that I wanted. And at the time, I knew that I wanted to move out of the place where I was living before. So it was a, you know, ensuite studio flat at the time. So even though it's like even though it's a vision board and even though, you know, it's like manifesting or whatever, me personally, I'm a Christian and I believe in God. So for me, it's like, even though I'm saying that, you know, I'm manifesting or whatever, I'm still asking God for this stuff. Like, I'm not saying, universe, give me ABC, because at the end of the day, I believe that God created the universe. Okay? So for me to ask the universe for anything is like, you know what I mean? So I was like, you know what, God, I'm believing in having like a new flat. I wrote it down. Literally, when I wrote that down, it wasn't even 6 months. Let's just say 6 months. So when I got that phone call saying that I can now start bidding, I was like, what now? I said, what? I can start bidding? For real? So, you know, and I didn't even bid for long. I did not bid for long because I wrote down, God, I want a house for Christmas. I want a house. I want my flat for Christmas. And I wrote it down. So just before Christmas, December now, I got a phone call from from a housing association, and they were like, "Hey, one of the places that you bidded for, you can come and see it. You've been successful. Your bid has been successful. Um, but you won't be able to see it until after Christmas. But I just wanted to let you know because I'm going on annual leave, so I wanted to let you know that." I was like, that's close enough. That's close enough and that's good enough. For me, I was like, God, that is close enough and that is good enough for me. Because even though I hadn't been in the place, I had gotten this in writing. They sent me, documents, and they just sent me things, and but I didn't see the place. I just saw, there was like one picture, like one picture on the website. I ran with it. And I believe January was when I moved in. And the rest is history, right? But for me, it was like, this is real. Like, this thing is real. Like, whatever I want, I can really call it in. Like, whatever I want, I can call it in. Like, I can pray for it. Like, I can bring it in. I can draw it. I can write it. I can bring it into my reality. That's when I was like, I bet. I was like, all right, bet. Cool. Like, if this is all I gotta do, cool. Um, but then I learned that some things take time. Some things you may ask for it today, you get it today, or you get it within a few hours, or some things will take a few months, some things may take a year and a bit. So as as time went by, I started to learn a little bit more about this whole manifesting thing, and this whole vision board thing, and and for me it was like I tried my best, and I still continue to try my best to make sure that I'm in line with, like, I'm still making sure that I'm asking for things that align with God's purpose for me, as opposed to me just asking for things because this is what I want, this is what I want to manifest into my world. Like, that's at first, if I'm really honest, at first that's how, like, because once I tested it and it worked, I was like, I'm a powerful being. Like, I'm a powerful being. I can bring into my reality whatever I want. Like, what are you telling me? Then I started to realize how dangerous it was, because even things that I didn't want, I was bringing into my reality. Even things that I didn't want. So I started to be more careful with how I speak. I started to be more careful with my words. I started to be more careful with how I think, even. Because even the things that I will think about will come into fruition, will come into my reality. And I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I don't want this. I don't want this. And I felt God saying, why is your mind dwelling in it? Oh, so this what this manifesting thing is about. Cool. I won't ask for what I don't want. I won't allow my mind to dwell around things that I don't want. And I'm just gonna speak the things that I want. I'm going to speak well. I'm going to speak positive. And that's it. So I think positive, I speak positive. And to be honest, that's kind of like around the same time as to when my brand name came about, because I played around with like so many different names, and I just heard like C-Positivista, and it was like, yeah, because I'm thinking positive, I'm having to to think positive, speak positive, so I can bring all of these positive things into my life. Yes. Ooh. So I was like, yeah, this is it. This is it. This is me. And it just flows and it goes. So I read a few books and I watched a few movies, and I feel like everyone who starts their manifesting journey starts with the book The Secret. And I watched the movie a few times, I've read the book a few times, and that was really, really good. And I also read a book called Calling in the One. I'm gonna keep talking about this book, because this book just played such like a massive role on my healing journey. So with Calling in the One, I'm going to be very honest, and I'm going to hold my hand up and say, when I started reading this book, I was calling in my husband. I was like, you know what, God, I'm ready for my husband. I'm ready for my boo. I'm ready for my mans. So yeah, let me read Calling in the One. When I tell you, this book broke me, this book brought about all of those insecurities, all of those things, you know, that I was feeling, all of those like trauma, brought it all up in the surface like this. I was like, wow. I read this book so that I picked up this book so that I can bring in my husband, and you're here talking about daddy issues, mommy issues, asking myself all of these questions that I've never asked myself before. And obviously now looking back, it's like, even though I asked God for my husband, even though, I felt that I was ready for that, it's not actually the husband I was ready for. I was ready to start to prepare for him. It's not that I was ready for the husband, I was ready for like preparing myself mentally, emotionally for a healthy relationship. So, manifesting can go left or right. Vision boards and all of these things can go left or right. So you just have to really think about what it is that you want. You have to really, really think about, actually, am I ready for this? If you're not ready for it, don't ask for it, because it will come. It will come. Yeah, so once I saw into this real world, this real reality, once I saw that this thing works, I started to take it seriously. Pinterest, really only bringing in things that I want, like really only liking things that I want. Like even Instagram, like I don't go on Instagram because there's so much on there that's like, for me, it's like I don't want any part of this. So anything that I feel like I don't want any part of, I don't entertain it. I don't get into it, because me, I'm very powerful in terms of bringing things into reality. So I just don't do it. I just don't do it. So now, you know, I look at pictures and I look at things, and I allow my mind to dwell on things that I do want, as opposed to things that I don't want. Because whether I want it or I don't want it, if I'm dwelling on it and I keep talking about it, it's going to come. So I try my best to like not talk about things that I don't want, not bring about things that I don't want. I've spoken about this a few videos ago, but last year I was like, okay, I want to start traveling. So I went on Pinterest and I started to like things that, I started to like, I don't know, pictures of like people at the airport, pictures of people packing suitcases, really lovely locations. And yeah, and since literally this started last year, so I went on my first solo trip, where I went to Tunisia. I went to Paris, like another solo trip. I went to Paris. I was listening to Fali a lot. I love his music. So like while I was planning to go, it just all happens. Like while I was planning to go to France, I didn't tell anybody that I was planning to go to Paris, yeah. But while I was planning to go to Paris, just like on like I was just trying to be on my on my tourist ish. Like while I was planning that, my cousin called me. He's like, "Yo, Fali's coming to Fali Pupa is coming to Paris, right?" I was like, "Yeah, I did hear about it briefly, but like I don't, like I'm coming by myself. Like I don't." He was like, "Don't worry, man. I got a ticket for you." Just like that, he had a ticket. He just happened to have a spare ticket. And the thing is, I weren't really gonna tell him that I was going until I got there. But yeah, so I ended up going to Fali's concert with him, and and my sister-in-law. But yeah, like it things just happen. And then I went to Portugal with my friend, and that's when we kind of started like our yearly travels. So that was really cool. So then I carried it on to this year, where I'm like, you know what, I want to continue to travel. So my friend and I, we went to Thailand, and and this year I went to Angola. I went to see my family, um, and I went to Malta. Like, I've just, like, out of nowhere, I said I wanted to start traveling, and it's not even about you thinking about the funds. Like, don't think about where the money's gonna come from. It's going to come, like, and all of a sudden, I've started traveling, I've started doing, and it works. It works. Yeah, but within like this whole like vision boards and manifesting stuff, I realized that a lot of it wasn't aligned with what God wanted for me. Um, so then I started to be really careful when it comes to like creating a vision board. I started to pray before creating a vision board. I started to say, you know what, God, what do you want for me? What do you want for me? What's next within this journey? You know, and as I started to pray on things, I then started to put things on the vision board where um where it's also in alignment with what God wants for me, because like manifesting is not evil. All these things, like, they're biblical. You just need to know how to go about it. Like, these things are biblical. Like, the Bible talks about um making your goals plain. Like, write it down, make it plain, you know. And if that's you putting pictures on a board, great. If that's you writing it down, drawing it, whatever helps you to picture it and believe in it, if that works for you, then you do what works for you. But yeah, I'm a lot more intentional in terms of like when it comes to like manifesting and bringing things into my reality. Like, I'm a lot more intentional when I'm liking things, when I'm putting things on when I'm pinning things on Pinterest, like things like that. I'm a lot more intentional. So my advice for anyone who is just starting off like creating vision boards, and you know, they've watched all of those TikTok videos that manifest, bring things into reality. Listen, this thing is not a joke. Don't ask for anything you don't want or anything that you're not ready for. You know, be intentional. Be intentional about the things that you want, the things that you desire. If you're not ready for it, you're gonna mess it up. And you don't want to do that. You want to be prepared for the things that you want. You want to be in the right place at the right time for the things that are meant for you. Don't ask for things that are not for you. Like, don't be wanty. Like, you're too wanty. Like, you're too knowy. Like, don't don't want it. Don't start wanting things just because other people have it. Like, what's in your heart? What are the desires inside of your heart? What things do you want? Not because other people have it, not because they're doing it. Like, literally, you can go on, on Instagram, you'll see that if like people have certain things, and you might want it as well. It's like, what if that's not for you? Why do you want what's not for you anyway? Like, in this life, I don't want anything that's not for me. Anything that's not for me, anything that God doesn't want for me. I don't want it. I don't want it. But what is for me will come at the right time. At the right time. At the right time. And it won't miss me. And it won't pass me by. Right? So thank you for watching this video. If you're starting up, with your manifesting journey and creating vision boards and all of that stuff, tap into your faith. Tap into your faith. What do you believe? Who do you believe created the universe? Who do you believe is bringing these things to you, is giving you these things? If you believe that you're the almighty, all powerful, you're the one who's bringing all of those things in, that's all you. If you feel like it's the universe, that's whatever. As for me and my household, I believe that Jesus Christ Baby, I believe that God himself is bringing these things into my life, you know, um, and I'm just in agreement with what he wants, and he's showing me these pictures and these things, and I'm putting them on my vision board, and we're working together. It's a partnership with the Holy Spirit. But yeah, so don't forget to subscribe, click that like, and put it in the comment section if you are starting up with your vision boards, how it's going for you, if you've been doing it for years, how it's been going for you. And yeah, and I'll see you on the next video.